This is episode 7 in my 2026 Summer Headspace series. This is a chance to revisit episodes from the previous school year during the summer months when you may have a little extra time. Beginning on August 31st, you will see new episodes with exciting new topics every Monday. For today, we're going to look back at assessment and feedback. We're going to do this through episode 216, which is about assessment and feedback and supporting growth, not just grades. And then episode 249, which is about quicker and more effective writing feedback. And then a more recent episode, 252, which is all about integrated performance assessments. So let's jump in. Whether you're planning your first lesson or celebrating your 20th year in the language classroom, I understand exactly where you are. I'm Joshua Cabral, and I'm also a language teacher in my 29th year of teaching. Now, I also have the opportunity to support schools and teachers all across the country who are working towards increasing proficiency and building confidence in their students. This is the World Language Classroom Podcast, with over 200 episodes of practical strategies tested in real classrooms just like yours and mine. So let's jump in. Vamos, allons-y. Hello, my friends. Bonjour, mes amis. Hola, mis amigos. Welcome to the World Language Classroom Podcast. I am Joshua Cabral, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your week to spend some time with me talking about language teaching, particularly over the summer. So I know that you are an incredible language teacher if you're thinking about your teaching over the summer. So thank you so very much for doing that. So on this episode, we're going to look back at the episodes about assessment and feedback. And I put them all together in the show notes so you can listen to them back to back or just so you can see how they complement each other. But the first one, and I would suggest listening to them in this order, start with episode 216, which is about assessment and feedback and supporting growth and not just grades. So it's a really good starting point to frame what we think of as assessment and feedback. They're not just measurement tools, but they are providing data that helps us move forward with our teaching as well. And in this episode, I put out a couple of different questions, and then we asked them to ourselves about our own teaching. So the questions you consider are, do your assessments reflect performance and communication? Do assessments include the 3 modes of communication? Do students understand how they're being assessed? And does the feedback encourage growth? So we go through each of these questions, and to really help you look at your own classroom and your own teaching and to find answers for these and where you may need to improve a bit or where you're doing really well. Because assessment doesn't have to feel like judgment with students. It is an opportunity to motivate by showing what was done well and then guidance in improving on that. So let's just make sure that our assessments and feedback tell students, you can do this, and then here's what's next. So we get into all of that on episode 216. And then on episode 249, looking specifically at writing feedback. And this is a way of looking at it so that it is a quicker way of going about it and also more effective. So the core issue that I jump into in this episode is that when we correct everything, student writing doesn't seem to improve. And why is that? And this comes down to the idea that when we do everything, there's no clear focus, there's too much cognitive load for students, there's no pattern recognition, there's no prioritization of what they should actually be focusing on, and they don't really understand what matters. So instead of correcting everything, I talk about a system that makes it more effective to focus on a few things or even one thing more so than everything at once. And I look at 2 specific approaches. One is focused error correction, which is based on the work of Gianfranco Conti, and then focus correction areas, which is part of the Collins writing program. And then on episode 252, a more recent episode, I talk about integrated performance assessments and really breaking down what they are and how to do them in your classroom. And many teachers are moving toward proficiency-based instruction, but assessment often remains a little disconnected from these communication goals. So if our goal is communication, then assessment should provide opportunities for students to communicate. So we really dive into in this episode, what is an integrated performance assessment, an IPA, and just seeing that essentially it assesses students through the three modes of communication. So the interpretive, the interpersonal, and the presentational. And then connecting these three tasks on the assessment rather than being separate tasks. And then helping to students move through a sequence that mirrors real world communication, where they are receiving information, then discussing the information, and then sharing information. And an IPA focuses on what students can do with language rather than how many grammar rules they can identify or examples of vocabulary within a theme or a category. So if you'd like to deep dive into assessment and feedback before you head back into your school year, definitely listen to these 3 episodes together. 216 on supporting growth, not just grades, and then 249, quicker and more effective writing feedback, and then episode 252, all about IPAs, integrated performance assessments. So you'll see the links for all of these episodes, 216, 249, and 252, right in the show notes, so you can listen to them right there. And if you're looking for a little summer PD, be sure to take a look at my Ready for Tomorrow Quick Win courses. Each is only about 30 minutes, and you will get a repeatable framework of ideas that you can use right away in your classroom. And you can find all 15 topics on my website, wlclassroom.com/quickwin, or the link is right there for you in the show notes as well. I will talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for listening. Be sure to follow or subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. And let's stay connected on social media. You can find me at WL Classroom pretty much everywhere. You'll also find lots of ideas, suggestions, and resources on my website, wlclassroom.com. Now stay curious, keep learning, and continue the great work you do inspiring and supporting your students.